Hi, my name is Alyssa and I draw a lot of Animal Crossing characters. This week I'm continuing my A to Z Animal Crossing sketch series with all the villagers whose names start with the letter T. This is the last standalone video. Next week's video will be U, V, W, Y, and Z because there are no X-name villagers yet. Hopefully they add one in New Horizons because I think it's kind of wild that there's nearly 500 unique villagers and not one starts with the letter X. It's kind of crazy. I don't have a whole lot of new things to talk about this week, so I guess we'll just get right into the speed paints. First up is Tbone, which not only is an animal food product animal name that Animal Crossing loves so much, but it also sounds like a nickname his friends gave him, which I think is kind of cute. But I love that he's wearing kind of like this bathrobe thing because I wanted him to look extra sleepy and lazy anyway, so the outfit perfectly matches his personality type and gave me a really fun pose idea, so I really liked drawing him. Next up is Tabby, who I almost skipped and forgot, but I caught it just in the nick of time. Definitely one of the more interesting looking cats, but I don't find Tabby ugly. I just think she's got an interesting design, and I'm like a sucker for like weird pig noses. So I think she's kind of cute in an unconventional way. Next is Tad, who's your standard frog. Not a whole lot going on with his character design, but I really like his goofy little smile, so I think he's pretty sweet. And the frogs in general are really cute in this game. So I gave him like a up in the air pose. I wanted to do a little bit of a different pose since I feel like a lot of my frogs look more or less the same. So I wanted to switch it up a little bit for Tad. Next up is Tammy, who is interesting because Tammy makes me think of like Tamarin Monkey as like a pun name, but she looks like a ring-tailed lemur, so I'm not sure what's going on with the name and the appearance, but I really like her design. I like the lemur tail, I like her creepy little red eyes. I just think she's a really interesting looking monkey, because some of the monkeys are kind of plain looking, but I really like her design actually. I always like when they do different species within the species, you know, like when they have a zebra horse or something like that, or an armadillo anteater. They use the same template, but they have a little fun with it, so you basically have more species than there actually are in Animal Crossing, if that makes any sense. It's like how in Sims 4 you can make like your dogs and cats like foxes and raccoons, even though they're dogs and cats. It's the same kind of idea. Next up is the Other Tammy, which I think is kind of hilarious that there are two different Tammys spelled two different ways in Animal Crossing, but this Tammy is an Uchi personality type, which I think roughly translates to like big sister or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I like the idea that she's kind of like the mama bear, like very protective of her friends, very like the mom friend who always has enough stuff in her purse to cure every ailment, you know? Definitely like a good friend to have around. She just gives me those vibes. Next is Tangy, one of my favorites. I love all the villagers that look like food, and I keep meaning to put up my old speed paint of like, I drew all the food themed villagers. I want to do a redo of that piece because I feel like my art's so much better now. I definitely want to tackle that, like maybe as an in-between piece when New Horizons comes out. Let's see if there's any more food villagers in New Horizons before I do a redo of that. But I will put that up sometime after my last video in this series. But anyway, Tangy, adorable, perfect, 10 out of 10, amazing villager. I love Tangy. Next is Tank. He's a pretty straightforward design, you know, solid color, solid shirt, not a whole lot going on character design wise, but I think he's kind of sweet anyway because I do like the really big, awkward bobbleheads that these rhinos have, so I just made him kind of happy and smiley and friendly. He has a little bit of hair on his head as well, which I thought was a cute little touch. Next is Teru. I'm assuming it's pronounced taro because, like, you know, taro root makes things purple and the wolf is purple, so I'm guessing that's where the name comes from. Maybe I'm wrong there. I think he might have been an e-reader only villager, but regardless, I really like that kind of purple tone that he has. It's like a warmer, softer purple instead of like a more royal blue purple. I like that color for him, and I think he came out really cute, and I'm really happy with the happy face I gave this guy. So if anybody out there ever played with this villager, let me know in the comments below. These rare villagers are kind of interesting to me. Next up is Tasha, who I'd never heard of before, but looking at her reference now, I can't remember off the top of my head if I had to just make a blue for her color scheme, because I know for sure the Snooty color palette doesn't have a blue in it. It's got like purple and like a greeny yellow. But I really like the blue on the dark blue color scheme with the orange eyes. I think it's a really smart, cool color scheme, and I think it's interesting for a Snooty villager. Next up is Teddy, and I did make him a little bit more smiley than his reference here. I wanted him to be like, you know, big tough jock. I was thinking what kind of pose a big bear could have for a jock, and I ended up taking off the little edge of his smile to make him look a little bit less smiley, because looking at his reference now, he's got more of like a serious deadpan expression, which is also funny in its own way, so maybe I'll play more into that when I get to the final art eventually. Next is Tex, and all I'm hoping for in New Horizons is that they give this jacket of his some sleeves, because I think it could really use some sleeves, but other than that, I think the jacket really suits him and his personality. Very chill, laid back kind of dude. Next is Tia, and this one goes super fast. I guess I must have just had a clear idea of what I was going for, and I just did it really fast because this one zooms by. But, you know, curtsy, tea time, elegance, cuteness, I think it all goes with her. Next is Tiara, and I had never heard of her, but I was trying to exaggerate the angle of the face coming toward me. Hopefully it worked. I think it kind of works. What do you guys think? Next is Tiffany, and I guess I knew what I was doing with her as well, because the speed paint for her goes by pretty quick, at least the head does. I could just envision her sassy looking head, you know, turned around to face us. I always like that pose for the Snooty villagers. I maybe overuse it a tad, but I just think it works, and I really like her funny little fishnet stockings too. She and Cherry would be BFFs, I think. Next is Timbra, and I'm not crazy about the scarf color, but I do kind of like the brown color scheme with the green, the very like earth tones, and the green eyeshadow. It's a look. I would give her like an emerald green scarf if I could redesign her like a blue-green scarf. But I wasn't in charge of that decision, so we're all gonna have to live with that ugly yellow scarf for now. Hopefully they fix it for her in New Horizons. She gets a cool sweater. Next is Tipper, like cow tipper, get it? But it's funny that her personality type is snooty, but she's one of the more joyful looking characters I think I've seen. Between the rainbow shirt and the like pose and the expression, she's just really happy and bubbly, despite being snooty. Next is Tom, another awesome cat that everybody loves. I love his silly little smile, and I love his color. His color is very like original GameCube purple blue, that very specific shade of GameCube color. Maybe it's a little bit bluer than that, but it reminds me of the GameCube, so good vibes all around. GameCube is awesome. So I really like his sassy little pose I gave him. He's cranky, but I wanted him to look a little more sassy than cranky because he doesn't look mean to me. I didn't want him to look upset, just maybe a little, you know, impatient perhaps. Next is Truffles, another punny animal name, but I really like the little beady eyes. I was just talking about that earlier with Teddy, how I like little beady eyes with big eyebrows, so I think this one turned out pretty cute as well. Next is Tucker. Isn't he the only mammoth in the game? Again, what I was saying with, you know, adding other species to existing species. A mammoth just fits the elephant template, so why not? I love those big tusks. I think they add a lot of personality to his face as well. Next is Tutu. I really like her color scheme, and she's pretty underutilized in pastel towns when I think especially with the default heart shirt. She looks like a Valentine, you know? We just had Valentine's Day, and I've always loved that pink and red color scheme. It's just like, it's too cute. It's like too sugary sweet. It shouldn't work, but it just does, you know? And I think Tutu looks like the perfect like Valentine's Day card mascot to me. Next is Twiggy, and I love when they do, I think I mentioned this in the S video, I love when they do blush that isn't blush color, because it looks like it's blue markings on Twiggy's face rather than like blush, you know? I think it's sweet. Nexus Twerp, and I had never heard of him before, but look at him, he's so angry. He's so cute. He's very upsetty spaghetti, and for what? I don't know. Maybe he's just perpetually angry, but look at that face. I just love that. I love how upset he is. Last but not least, rounding out the T names is Thibault, a Romeo and Juliet name, and I think it also means Prince of Cats as well, which is very suiting for him as a giant cat himself. I kind of like how chunky his tail turned out here too, how I kind of squared it off a little bit. Maybe I'll exaggerate that more in the final artwork as well. And that wraps up the T names. As usual, I'm going in and I'm adding all the coloring from the various personality-based color palettes up at the top of the screen, not paying any mind to whether it's clean or not because I fixed that up in the next phase. I will be doing a video of my process in real time coming up after this series, but I have one more video left in this series, and that's next week. And there you have it. There's all the T-name villagers. What do you guys think? Who are your favorites in this video? Or least favorites? Let me know too. Let me know if you have beef with any of the villagers whose names start with the letter T. If you've got an ongoing fight with a villager whose name starts with the letter T. I want to know about it. I want to know all about all your Animal Crossing in-town drama, all your fights, you know? If you guys are looking for Animal Crossing merchandise of stickers, prints, tote bags, t-shirts, and more, that link is in the description below at my Redbubble shop. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a fantastic rest of your day.